Turkish bank could face criminal charges by a U.S. court. A new report finds that Egypt is heavily expanding state surveillance, and the latest round of UN-led talks on drafting Syria's new constitution ends in a big disappointment. Let's get you up on these headlines from around the region. We begin in Turkey, where a Turkish bank can face criminal charges for evading sanctions against Iran and processing billions of dollars of Iranian oil revenue. According to an indictment that was upheld by a U.S. district judge, Halkbank illegally moved about $20 billion in Iranian oil and gas revenues. It also said the state-owned bank sometimes disguised money transfers as purchases of food and medicine so they would qualify for a humanitarian exception. The allegations first surfaced in 2015 when a wealthy Turkish-Iranian gold trader was arrested upon his arrival to the US on a trip with his family to Disney World. Moving on to Egypt, where a new report published this month found that the country is heavily expanding state surveillance and investing in the latest spy technology. The report was published by the Institute of Development Studies based in the United Kingdom. It said that much of the spying equipment is used on activists, journalists, and government critics, including political opposition. Other countries named in the report include Sudan, Kenya, Senegal, South Africa, and Nigeria. Egypt has some of the weakest privacy protection laws in the world. The country has no public reporting requirement and does not require a test for reasonable suspicion prior to authorizing surveillance. Finally, in Syria, the first round of talks to draft the country's new constitution ended with no progress nor a new date for the next meeting. After 5 previous talks over the past 2 years agreed on a mechanism to begin drafting the constitution, representatives from the government, opposition, and civil society convened in Geneva last week to put pen to paper. But the UN envoy for Syria said the talks were a big disappointment. Now hang on before you go, here's a list of a few events coming up this week. On Thursday, the Libya Oil and Gas Summit begins in Houston, Texas. On Friday, 2 former Lebanese ministers are summoned for questioning in the case of last year's Beirut port explosion. And on Sunday, the UN's Climate Change Conference begins in Glasgow. That's your MENA recap from last week and some important events coming up this week. For more reading on the region, be sure to visit our website. Until next week, stay safe, everyone. I'm Joe Snell.